Warcry is great, great community, great rules, great terrain, it's all kind of swanky, I think we can all agree. But you know what sucks? Factions. Factions suck. But also not really. Not every faction sucks in reality. In fact, just to backtrack that entire last sentence, no faction truly sucks. Probably. But maybe some do, and at the very least I think every one of these 60 to 68 factions in Warcry have a little bit sucky about them, and in this video that's what we're going to talk about. We are going to go through every faction in Warcry, and I am going to bestow upon you my knowledge, no matter how hallowed that may be, by telling you the suckiest aspect of every faction in Warcry for a little bit of fun. These sucky aspects could be mechanical, they could be thematical, they could be hobby related, or it could just be raw, straight up bias. But whatever it is, I made the rules and I forgot to write them down, so we'll just jump right in and we'll see how we go.
And now for something completely different.
If you've made it this far, then you are one of the very special viewers who have decided to watch more than 5 seconds before dipping out. Thank you for your time, but whilst you are here, please consider dropping a like, a comment, and even subscribing, as it helps me continue to do what I do. But if you want to help the channel out even further, then please consider joining my Patreon or my YouTube members, or using my Element Games affiliate link in the description down below. But with that out of the way, back to the show.
Groovy.
Oh god, why did I do this alphabetically? Sweet Jesus. So, okay, Skaven Trueblades are the worst to start with, because the list of things that could be considered ass with the Skaven Trueblades are borderline cataclysmic in scale. But to keep this interesting and to not just default to, oh, the FAQ made them bad, or man, their stats don't fit with how Warcry damage averages work, I am going to say that they look like ass. I don't like the vaguely Japanese theme. I don't like their goofy ass hair. I don't like their leader's design at all. And their best model by far is this guy, and he's in game. Typical. Dragon Ogres suck. Even the Shaggoth is kinda in mid-territory, and that is just a crime. Dragon Ogres are the coolest model in the whole Beasts of Chaos range, and they are just bad versions of Minotaurs. And whilst I'm here, I am not saying Bulgor. Bulgor is a stupid name. They're Minotaurs. Games Workshop simply cannot paint these guys in a way that makes them not look terrible. Every time you see them, they are so darn pasty. It's like a warband exclusively filled with sickly ginger toddlers, and it makes their whole range look terrible. There is literally no redeeming feature in this warband. Stat lines aren't thematic, rules are boring, and there aren't enough things, and the things that exist straight up suck. I am not even sure if they've ever received any help from any FAQ ever. To make matters worse, they gave them one of the worst battle traits too. It's just comical at this point. It's the square bases. It has to be the square bases. A whole bunch of these guys are on silly ass little square bases, and they're not to the right size, and some of them are even on fancy small square bases like the Savage Big Boss. So he has no feet. He has no feet if he's not on his fancy base. It just adds an extra layer of tedium to getting this warband all set up. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure none of these models can be bought now. Imagine a faction that is clearly meant to be high risk, high reward, but they forgot to add in the reward, and frankly the risk isn't even that high either. This leaves you with a faction that is painfully boring to play because their abilities suck, their stat lines are uninteresting, and they just lost access to both counter and onslaught, so their high toughness means less and their damage output has tanked. Nice. These guys are straight up boring. I don't care if they have Brethren of the Bolt to make them seem more interesting. The idea behind the Castellite hosts is steeped in boring ass, non-interactive gameplay, and it makes me angry when I play them. I don't even mind if I'm playing against them because their shtick is so easy to work around, but my god, playing as them puts me to sleep. Get these guys in the bin. This isn't even a faction, they just bundled together a bunch of terrible out of production stuff and gave them what amounts to no rules, and then let them loose into the wild because that's always a good idea. At the very least though, they have some cheap elves. Anybody who plays Dispossessed competitively and unironically is the kind of person who likes it when nobody but them is having fun, and even they aren't having fun. Like with the rest of cities, they can get in the bloody bin, you absolute disgrace for a dwarf faction. And that's not even mentioning the fact that their guns suck and people don't seem to take their helicopters despite those things being obviously outstanding and actually fun to play. So really nobody's having any fun ever. Why are you like this, Dispo players? Why? Okay, so the biggest flaw with Claws of Karanak is absolutely our community. We are all at fault here. I don't care how bad Claws of Karanak are. I just don't. The fact that in all of my years of playing Warcry and being part of this community, I have never played against or even seen somebody play Claws of Karanak makes me sad. I don't care if every aspect of their mechanical design is kinda balked, their models are sexy, and you've all done the game a great disservice for not operating under the rule of cool. Of course, I am awesome and I have played them many times, therefore this does not actually apply to me, but you should all be ashamed though. It's simple, you can't buy them anymore and they're also overly terrain dependent, so if your meta likes to play on a featureless wasteland, then you are boned. Otherwise, not gonna lie, Corvus Cabal are pretty swanky. One could say they are the definition of perfection. You can't take a hell pit and still hit 7 models, and it makes me so sad every time I do the maths. Everything is ever so slightly overcosted, so you can't make the world's memeiest list, and John refuses to answer my calls. They have no battle trait. They feel like something is missing every single time you play them, and that's because something is missing. They have no battle trait. Just fix it. Come on, John. It has to be their Wolverine gang, right? The guy with the cool claws. He sucks, and he's so close to not sucking. He comes from a time when AoE attacks and high volume, low damage, high crit was like a thing they did a lot, but they were also straight up terrible. And this guy deserves better. My god, it's the bad people. The bad people suck. I mean, damn, if any of these models had any wounds, they would actually be an interesting pick in Daughters of Cain. But at 20 trillion points and rocking a whopping 10 wounds, they are completely unplayable. They are also the best looking models in the faction. Sure, snakes are cool, but I want bats and snakes, and I can't do that without ripping off my own leg and using it to kick myself in the nuts. There are simply too many things all competing to do the same bloody thing, like 4 variants of Zangor competing with themselves and also the 15 variants of human chaff, who are all basically the same profile, and then more wizards than any faction should reasonably have, and they're all doing the same thing. Cut the bloat and give us some interesting profiles, not an endless tirade of shitty ones and one default pick. All of these models look pants. Modern Tzeentch, and when I say modern, I mean like the dawn of plastic Tzeentch, is just a betrayal of what those original metal sculpts were. Just, they took so much from us, and I just haven't recovered from that. Oh no, it looks like I am poking the community once again because it's kind of fun. Not enough people see the value of the Vargulf, and those people are objectively wrong and should get their Warcry opinion license revoked. Also, I guess their cool support pieces are kind of expensive and their effects are bizarrely niche and somewhat unreliable. Like, Infected Bone is like the original Killer of Kingzo, and that's kind of cool. I don't care if you like tough, cheap dwarfs, this faction is boring as all heck, and I will always assume you have a hatred for fun if you play them on the regular. We have better naked ginger dwarfs. Make the right choice. I could say that they have too many things because Gloomspite are comically large and there's a lot of overlap, but that's kind of lazy. The real issue with Gloomspite is that the Rockgut, the Fellwater and the Dankholds are not part of the faction. They don't have the Gloomspite rune mark and they really should. I don't care if that means Gloomspite get the only in-faction monster and the only in-faction thralls. They deserve it. They are wacky as all hell. Give them the trogs, you cowards. Gorgia Morpack are legit kind of ugly, but not in a good way. I don't like their models at all, and I especially think the Clawback looks goofy as all heck with his damn cape, the superhero ass looking fool. Mechanically though, they're kind of perfect. Demons of Slaanesh are like legit hideous. Like, their models are older than me probably, and there's no sign of them getting a refresh anytime soon. They're just old and vile looking. Like, they're just not a good looking faction anywhere. Imagine if the vast majority of your faction was so underwhelming that nearly every single non-Cyberite player on the planet just didn't know those models existed. Then you'd have Cyberites. Cyberite players took a token from Age of Sigmar and made that their whole identity. What's going on? These guys are the new kids on the block and they are awkward to buy. Between Blood of the Bull being locked to an Underworld's big box and the rest of their kit being bundled in various Age of Sigmar boxes with unplayable guff added in out of pure spite, they are just a pain to start if you only play Warcry. There is nothing fun about this faction. There is zero interaction. There is only perpetual annoyance. I know you're listening off meta. I know you're cackling maniacally, fully aware of what you have done. I don't want to paint water, and there's too much water in Idoneth. I don't think I've seen a faction get so thoroughly shafted indirectly like the Iron Golems. Their strength came from counter on their chaff and their ogres hitting hard with a mixture of attack blessings, onslaught and rampage. Well, counter is gone, onslaught is harder to use, rampage is gone, and attack blessings are more expensive, meaning Iron Golems have been taken out back and shot in the back of the head. It's the mega bosses. They are too big and they don't fit thematically within the scope of Warcry. Get them out of my game. These guys literally only have one viable playstyle, and that playstyle is both mid in execution and boring for both players. Nice. Their battle trait is stupid and it falls way too far into gotcha design. There's a time and a place for gotchas, but Kharadron do it in like the worst possible way. Also, thematically, it's called a good deal, and that implies that your opponent can just say no, but they can't say no. It also implies that your opponent is giving you something, but they aren't giving you anything. You are getting a wild dice, but that wild dice is being spawned from the ether. Like, all you would have to do is make it so Kharadron players have to physically give you one of their wild dice from their pool to use this trait, and it would feel so much better, both in terms of mechanics and in terms of theme. The basic bitches of destruction. These guys are everywhere because they're the base of like every soup. Can destruction players sing a new song already? Sheesh. Games Workshop completely balked their trait by making it good against monsters, which until very recently weren't a common sight. It's thematically cool, but mechanically kinda vapid. Also, their reaction is legit rage-inducing. Their hats are legitimately stupid, their spears are too long, and their models look terrible. Look, am I being lazy here by saying these models suck as well? Because they do, like, bar the sloppy bowpipe, I just have no interest in any of the sculpts and Nurgle demons, they're all just kinda mid or bad. The faction is too small, and not enough of that faction is worth taking. I like Rotbringers, but there aren't that many viable lists for them. And as an aside, too many Rotbringer players take more than 7 models in their list, and they should all be ashamed for doing so. 7 is the holy number, stick to it. Nighthaunt. What if every model had another model or 3 that did what it did for a similar price and with similar stats? This faction needs gutting and reworked. It is a bloated nightmare of a faction. The worst kind of durable. 30 to 40 wounds as standard with reasonable toughness means that they just stick around forever, and it's just a slog to fight them. And let's not beat around the bush, you are going to fight them. They will get in your face because they're all so fast. They will make you fight them. Failing that, they'll use one of their many fantastic guns, some of which are the best guns in the game, so they will just shoot you instead, and since they are still walking tanks, they are very difficult to deal with. There are so many balked models in terms of price here. Why is Galen 135 points? Why is Jelsin 185 points? Why is Balthus 95? Why is Axwald 95? Like, drop Galen by 20 or give him an ability and then drop him by like 10 instead. Drop Jelsin by 20. Drop Balthus by 15 to 20. Drop Axwald by 20. Heck, drop Valius by 20. I don't care if this makes any of those models undercosted. Most of them can't be allied anyway, and all of them are unique. They should be undercosted. Arcearch Bone Reapers have like one build, and that build is cool, but it's really repetitive to play against. Despite all of their changes, all of their buffs, they still refuse to make Pyre tokens. Their core mechanic actually good. Let us place them within 1 inch, John. Let the bubble be 2 inches, John. Make Pyregeists a faction, John. Their mid-range is too hotly contested. Bloated ones continue to overshadow Carrion Catchers despite Carrion Catchers being buffed, and this means you really only have 2 units to play with in Rotmire, which makes them a little bit bland to play with. Wait. I hate playing it, I hate playing against it. Thank God they aren't more popular. The Big Fireman sucks. When your faction is all about fire and the Big Fireman sucks, you know you've messed up. Slan, get out, you don't belong here. What if one faction had every rule known to man? Welcome to Skaven, I hate it. Get Marauders and all of their associated leaders out of this faction. We have Dark Oath, they exist. Gut the little guys and give Slaves of Darkness a defined theme around their big armoured guys. What if one faction had every Bladeborn known to man? Welcome to Soulblight, I hate it. Great faction, but boring to play. It falls into the trap of having really cheap nets, so you just spam them out a bit and then fill in on big stuff. It's super formulaic, and I'm just not a fan of it. Their whole snake gimmick? Yep, it doesn't work. It was good, and it's never coming back. Rest in peace, snakes. There's simply too many of them. A faction of heroes, and every hero is less durable than your bog standard Stormcast from any other faction. Nice. Also, their damage sucks. So what do? They struggle immensely. That being said though, they are fun to play. Why do their dogs get to react? Why is their reaction equal to or greater and not just greater? Why have they made a faction so perfectly designed to make every other faction bland? Man, I love it when a faction has been power crept into complete irrelevance. What if one faction absorbed every new Stormcast release and then slowly strangled every other chamber? Welcome to Thunderstrike. I hate it. These guys are so goofy. Sneaky Stormcast in that armor, that chunky and that gold. It's hilarious. I'm not even sure that it's a negative. I kind of love it. They're so goofy. Warrior Chamber are like playing Stormcast if you like to play Stormcast with no rules and 90% of your faction was unplayable or sheer, uncompromising, raw bloat. It's their flying archers. What were they thinking with these, my lord? I hated every second of building and painting these models. They are weirdly finicky and overly detailed for my taste. For a warband of outriders, why do Tyrannic Cohort have the world's slowest dogs? Movement for dogs? Really? A travesty, I tell you, a travesty. I could cheap out here and just say they have no trait, but that's not even their real issue. It's the fact that despite being a 5-man warband, their models don't actually have elite enough stats to compete in any meaningful way. It's a real shame. You simply can't buy them anymore, and that's a crying shame. Although if I was you, I would just proxy a whole bunch of Chaos Dwarfs and have a good time. It fits 1-to-1, don't worry about it. Whoever decided to design Jade Obelisk were clearly on something, because they managed to make incredibly simple concepts like healing and moving and using any ability comically complex to shoehorn in interactions between multiple units, but the payoff for that interaction is mid at best. Is completely wild. What were they thinking? They fixed their leader, yes, finally. Oh, but their mid-range still sucks? Damn. Twist Wield are a cool concept, but I hate the gooey, fleshy tree aesthetic. I never want to paint them, which means I am never going to play them in real life. It's a bit of a shame, really. There are simply not enough good beasts in Warcry that you can ally in, and their in-faction beast is 195 points, which is comically expensive for the stats it brings. There is nothing wrong with Flameseekers, they are perfect. Wildercore Hunters are the victims of competitive players spamming stuff and making a faction boring and inciting endless eye rolls when someone says they're playing Wildercore. It's a real shame since most players of Wildercore don't blandify them and the actual warband is kinda good. Have you seen their tactical dungarees? I just can't take this warband seriously. Tactical dungarees, what's going on? And we are done. 68 factions covered, and all of their flaws exposed for the world to see. Now, if only John could take all of this feedback on board and fix the game by the next FAQ, that would be fantastic. But that's the end of this video. If you liked this nonsense video, you let me know in the comments down below. If you would like a follow-up video going over all the positives of every faction in Warcry for all 68 once more, let me know as well. That'll be a good time. But until next time, lads, ladies, and everybody in between and beyond, ta-ra. Hey, old Toast here, and welcome to the post-toast credits. A massive thank you to all of my patrons and members who helped to make this channel possible, but an extra special shout out to all of my algorithmic demon slayers: Andy Morris, Brioche 2, Electric Boogaloo, Blah Blah Blah, Heinz D, The Houston Toad, Lord Phylax, Mad Mars, Martin Spoon, Paulo Fernando Concleves Paris Fajio, Sable Saber, Skirmish Studios, Steve Bean and Velas. Thank you for your continued support, and I'll catch you all next time.